All right. Good afternoon, or is it good evening? Good evening, everybody. Go ahead and share the link. Let's see if we can get the link up. Let's see if we can get the link up. I'm gonna clip it here, and then we can send it out. Just take a few minutes and quickly share it. See if we can get a few folks on. We had already sent the link out. I'm not too sure where everybody else is, but let's go. I just sent the link on the trio. Yeah, share that link so we can talk. We can get some folks on um, and get going, really. So,
It's the same link.
yeah, I just shared it in WhatsApp. It should be the first link I shared was our channel. So, if anybody's on our channel, they can just go on live and then they will see it.
Okay. So this one now I'm sharing again to the same people I shared before, right?
The same link, yeah.
Okay.
It goes directly to the live stream. All right. I'm not seeing anybody yet, but let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, we got a few folks on. True Lion, how are you feeling today?
I'm excited, bro.
I think the one person we should be most excited is Ajab because his prediction of a draw came true,
I'm
right?
not excited because yeah, I
Cameroon,
will not say excited, but it's not what I saw this coming. So
so yeah,
but hold on, no. Are you talking about Cameroon or you're talking about Algeria?
both.
Okay.
It was tough, man. It was tough.
But
No,
that was
I
day three,
expected.
right? Day three.
Yeah,
No, it's
Yeah,
still day
day
one.
three.
Well,
Day
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 three.
three.
one.
This is day three.
Yeah, day three was okay.
Yeah. All right. I think we have enough folks on. We can get started. Let's just so we don't keep them waiting too long. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Very happy that you're here with us today. AFCON day three. Today is a tough one. All my people from the continent. We will be talking today about Cameroon's first game of the tournament, of course, providing an in-depth analysis, at least from our perspective, of every game that happened today. Today we had Senegal versus Gambia, Cameroon versus Guinea, and Algeria that versus Angola. The game just ended, so I think we will make it a habit of coming to you at 6 p.m. every day, 6 p.m. Eastern, just to give you a quick rundown of what our thoughts are of the activities of the day or the games of the day, and then we can talk through whatever topics or comments you may bring up. But for now, our show is really focused on analyzing the games, talking about the man of match, and of course, any other prediction changes and things like that. And we will make sure we keep it streamlined so that you are as engaged as we are, and let's have a fruitful and entertaining conversation that does not leave us wondering if at all we wasted our time 30 minutes to an hour together, right? So thank you so much for tuning in. Share the link, get your friends on, so we can get talking. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so very much for joining. If you're joining us for the first time, please, please, please subscribe to our channel. Let's grow the family. Let's grow the network. Let's grow the community, because we'll be doing this going forward. And of course, giving our perspective, like I said. And it's a trio. So with me today, we have the venerable True Lion and the historically correct, always Ajab. Gentlemen, say something to the guest or to the audience.
Greetings, greetings. Hi everyone. Thank you for coming online to at least digest what we have to say about what has been going on for day three of the magnificent African Cup of Nations 2023 taking place in 2024.
That's right. And True Lion?
Yeah, hello everyone. Good evening, those here in North America and our fans over in Africa. I know it's late night over there, so hope you guys had a wonderful day. It was a beautiful day for football. I wasn't disappointed. Lots to be spoken about. Lots of good predictions. and the teams are actually very, very competitive. So it's beautiful football for Africa.
All right. Thank you so much. Now that we have that out of the way, time to dive right in, right?
Yes, sir.
So, three games today. Group C, two games, and Group D, one game. Senegal versus Gambia, Cameroon versus Guinea, Group C, and Algeria versus Angola, Group D. The scores, we can run through them. Let's start with Senegal versus Gambia, the first Group C game that was played this morning at 9 a.m. Senegal came away with a 3-0 victory over Gambia. A bit of a disappointing performance by Gambia. Anybody? Or was it just
Yeah.
the amazing
Um,
tactical prowess
Ga-
of Senegal?
I knew Senegal was going to win, but I didn't know it was going to be a walk in the park, you know?
That's right.
But what happened, like similar to what happened against Ivory Coast, they took care of the game. They scored their first goal very early in the game. And after they scored their first goal, they were comfortable with the game. They didn't give Gambia the chance to settle into the game, even though they had to wait until the second half to score the second and the third. Brilliance from the young man, Lamin Camara. I was
Yes.
talking to my guy because we both watched the AFCON, U20 AFCON last year, where he emerged the best player. At that time, he was still playing for Generation Foot back in Dakar, and he
Yes.
was signed by Mets. And since then, he's been growing. And I told my friend that the way this young man is playing, I won't be surprised if Aliou Cisse integrates him into the senior team. And Aliou Cisse did exactly that, gave him a starting role, and he's taking care of it. He's taking advantage of the. I don't know if I'll say he's taking advantage of SARS injury to be a starter, but he took his chances and he
And
converted
he's
them
doing it.
excellent. Without any doubt, that's my man of the match, my man of the day, and so far the best player of the competition, if you ask me.
I absolutely echo what you just said there. Lamin Kamara is a name to take home with us today because this gentleman, this young man, was amazing. He was just simply imperial today. I don't know if True Lion believes the same thing, but that was my thinking when I watched the game. I absolutely loved what he did today. And so, True Lion, any other thoughts, anything to take away from the game?
I think the first goal, as I have said, came in time, and that was a very, very constructive play from Senegal. You knew what they wanted to do. They showed you what they want to do, but Gambia was a little bit disappointment for me because there was
Mhm.
not much press on the ball, especially on the second goal. They allowed Senegal to play up high, and then there's no press, and it's a defender carrying the ball. So when you don't press him, you give him all that time. A player like Koulibaly, he's gonna and one, two, three passes, it was already a goal. So a little bit disappointed from Gambia. But if you look thoroughly at this Gambia team, they are not a bad team.
Yes.
They are not a bad team. Although Senegal beat them 3-0, it just shows how superior Senegal is. But I watched Gambia, they are not a bad team. So they are still in this. And they
Yeah.
will take advantage of that draw today.
Yeah, that's what yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, they draw today. It's a good thing for Gambia. They have
Yeah,
two players you have to watch out. Very pacey and very skilled. Number 10, he used to play for the Serie A last season. He moved
MLS.
to Saudi Arabia for money. Barrow.
Okay.
And then the
Wow.
young guy, the young guy who signed for Newcastle and has been loaned out to Holland for Feyenoord. He's called Minte something. He's about 19.
Okay.
But
All
yeah,
right.
those are two
But
guys to watch out for them.
today was Gambia's heaviest AFCON defeat ever.
Mm.
And was it just down to Sadio Mane looking like the Mane of Liverpool days of old, or just the fact that Gambia went down to 10 men after the second half, after the first, towards the end of the first half, and that allowed for the brilliance of Senegal to really shine through, especially because of the numerical advantage.
both both the dominance of Senegal, the confidence, the maturity, the experience. Like I mentioned, the good thing about Senegal, most of the players are aging. The key players are aging and are not playing in competitive leagues. But since they've been playing together, it's a factor, huge factor. Plus the Aliou Cisse, who's been coaching them since 2015, it's another good factor. Some of those guys he coached them from the junior team to the Olympics and now with the national and senior team. If you look, last AFCON, Senegal won, and the World Cup 2022, 6 of the 11 players that started today started in the AFCON final, started in the World Cup. So that in
That's
itself
great.
tells you that he's trusting the group he's playing with, he's trusting the group that he has. And about 18 of the is it 19 of the players, no, 21 of the 27 players were also part of the World Cup 2022 squad. for Senegal. So he trusts the group. He's been working with them for a while and he knows them. And you see, he makes changes and the impact is even worse. So he knows
Yes.
that the guys he's dealing with. It's not like bringing people in to say we just want flop space. No, he trusts the
All right.
guys he's calling up for the team. So
Great.
Tru3lion, I don't
Great.
know if you have
So
something else to say. Go ahead.
Yeah,
so
and
we can.
yeah, and you also see when they scored the second goal, you see a guy like Kuyate. He's on the bench. He's a veteran. He's clapping. He's encouraging them. So you think Senegal? You see Senegal is actually a well seasoned team that doesn't have that pressure of not winning the African Nations Cup on their back. They just won it, and they are very motivated to go ahead and win because they were on business. They were about their business. They were giving the passes because that first goal. Look at the first goal. Mane, he could have kept the ball. He could have struck the ball, but then he released the ball to the person who was in a better position to
Better
Position.
score,
position.
Yeah.
and it was an easy one.
Very correct.
That's playing together as a team. I think Senegal, as I said, one of the favorites to win it all. They just on point.
All right. So predictions stay astute. You all did say we don't count Gambia out. I tend to agree, but I feel like something is going to happen on the second day of play in this group that would turn all our predictions upside down. I just feel it. All right. Let's. I don't know if we should talk about the next Group C game, um,
Um.
but
Let's
I was
let's
thinking
talk.
we should talk about
Let's
Algeria
yeah.
and Angola because I'm
Yeah,
sure
let's
there's
talk
a lot.
about it's a little still fresh. Let's talk about countries before we move to continents, you know.
Yes,
So yeah, let's talk about countries before we move to continents. So let's talk about the Algeria game. It's still a little bit still fresh
that's
in the
right.
mind, and then we go to the elephant in the
Then
room,
we'll go
right?
back to the elephant in the room.
Yeah,
That's
Yes.
right. All right,
yeah.
so let's jump into it then. Let's go right in. Algeria, Angola. Algeria started out really well, and maybe the ghost of AFCON's past coming back to haunt them or hurt them as Angola figured out a way to get a goal back, claw their way back into a draw. Or how do you characterize the game? What are your thoughts about what really happened today between Angola
Complac-
and
yeah,
Yeah,
complacency, complacency.
I think, yeah, I think, as he said, complacency is one of them. I think Algeria should actually develop a plan B, right? You cannot play your game same style or at a pace of 100 miles an hour for 90 minutes. It's not just going to work, right? Sometimes you just have to calm it down, protect the ball, and then you make Angola work. But Angola came into the game, and then sometimes football is just a game of inches, right?
Inches,
Because
yeah,
That's
look
right.
at
exactly. Just
look
that
at
quick.
Fine
yeah,
margins.
look
Fine
at the
margins.
center forward. Look at the goal, the bicycle goal he scored. He was
Fine
just
margins.
fine,
Yep.
man. The offside bar,
Very little.
yeah, very
I was quite impressed that the ref called that offside without the help of VAR.
Yeah,
well.
I
It's
was
a nice
really,
man who actually saw it, and I saw it also. They call it, but they allowed the action, and that's one thing we should compliment. The refrain in this African Nations Cup has been top notch.
unbelievable. Yeah,
oh,
that's actually a point I wanted us to talk about
yeah,
later on.
yeah,
But
yeah.
since you
There,
probably mentioned it, let's
yeah.
Yeah,
talk about that. The
yeah,
refs have been unbelievable from day one. From
Yeah,
day
the
one.
refs have so far top
Yes.
notch. Yeah, the refs have been awesome so far. Yeah, and just to follow up with True Lions point, if you watch that game after 30 minutes, you might leave, come
Yes.
back at 90 minutes to ask, is it 3 or 4-0?
Yeah, that's right.
After the first goal, and then after the missed goal, Ajura was so confident. Algeria was so confident, and then complacency kicked in, and then they allow Angola to get into the game. Once Angola got into the game, that was it. When you play in these teams, so far small teams, right? Don't allow them get into the game. Don't give them confidence because once they know they can play with you or that you are losing the tempo of the game and they get in, watch out with them. And that's what happened to Angola. Angola, they're not skillful or anything. They were just very pacey and physical. That's how they managed to get into the game.
I mean, like you said, Algeria started off with their wheels, like the brakes off the wheels of the car, and they just kept going.
Yeah.
And at some point, I realized there was a drop in tempo and momentum that allowed Angola to get in the game. And I mean, it was. I think the goal that was ruled out for VAR, for offside, sorry, that would have possibly been the best or most impressive goal in AFCON this year, right? Because the way he took that ball and it sat up perfectly and he just did the bicycle kick. Man,
Yeah.
I reminiscent of, was it I don't know. Was it somebody did that in the Premier League?
Ganucho, the
I
Manchester.
don't
So
know. There you
Ganacho,
go.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
the Ganacho's own was
He
like
was
one.
the other
Yeah,
way, but
this
this
guy had to
guy,
put
he
it
was
on the
literally
chest,
under the
and
ball, got it
mhm,
up, and
Yeah.
he went for
But,
it. So that would
but
have been amazing. But let's mention the refs because we've talked about the refs. I want to talk about cautions today. We had the first red card today. We had two red cards actually today, and today has been the heaviest day in terms of cards met cautions given out. I did a count. Senegal had two yellow cards. Gambia had a red card. Cameroon had two yellow cards. Guinea had three yellow cards with a red card. Algeria and Angola, I think Algeria had four yellow cards and Angola had two yellow cards. That's a lot of yellow cards. That tells you the tournament is starting to heat up. People have shaken off the nerves of the first few days and they're now starting to put in those hard tackles. And the refs, like you guys said, have been imperial. So I really, really appreciate that the refs have been good. Oh, by the way, there's a Cameroonian ref also. He's the one who did Nigeria's game, I think.
was it
Nigeria,
Nigeria or Egypt? One of them.
Egypt's game. Egypt's game.
Egypt. Yeah,
That's
Egypt
right. And it's funny because today's ref for Cameroon's game was Egyptian.
was an Egyptian.
So
Yeah.
exactly. So the elephant in the room.
yeah,
Now
but
that
then,
yes, go ahead. Go ahead,
yeah,
True
yeah. I wanted you to just talk a little bit about Angola, right? Or about Algeria. You see,
Algeria.
this tournament sometimes you have to stay focused, also discipline and focus, because a guy like Ben, what's his name?
Nabil Bentaleb.
Yeah,
Translate.
Ben Taleb, a guy like
Yes.
Ben Taleb, he should know better because 20 minutes to the end and all that, you don't have your right your angles. You should actually be putting the body, or you see the guy going ahead of you. You should refrain because it was not a bad that ball was going out. So
Yeah,
he called the penalty.
And
That penalty actually finally got them into the game.
into the game.
You know,
he was facing the ball. It's not as if he was backing the ball. Those
Yes.
are things you will get from maybe those inexperienced guys like we saw yesterday in
With
the
Mozambique, right?
Mozambique. The
Yeah.
guy, I didn't expect someone of Bentalib's
Because he's
experience
played
to
for
commit
long. I
such a
mean,
foul.
he's a very good. I mean, he's been around for a while. He plays
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah. He's been around.
within Lille. Like in
He's
his
been
thirties.
there, and then
Yeah,
he was missing for a while, and then he's back. Yeah,
yeah, he's in his thirties, right? Like,
yeah. It's about maybe late 20s, early 30s.
yeah,
yeah, because the guy was right in front of him, right?
Yeah,
Because if you see the foul, he kicked him behind. He's like a, yeah. So
and he
he
was going nowhere with that ball. He was going
exactly. But that panic, just that one mistake, then they scored the penalty because hey, this Angolan team,
nowhere.
they are not afraid to play.
No, no,
They
no,
have
they're not.
nothing to lose, right?
No
yes.
Afghan team is
So
afraid
the-
to play. This
Playing against
so far,
good
we've
joke.
not seen anybody timid or anything except
and,
maybe Guinea-Bissau.
and technically, some of them they were really good
Yeah,
Yeah,
playing in the local
yeah,
league. Yep.
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Now, I mean, it's great. What do you think, Group D? Does this influence your predictions? Do you think Algeria may drop the ball just like I predicted?
Who's Burkina Faso playing tomorrow?
Or let me quickly look at the fixtures. Give me a second
No,
here.
I think Algeria will not drop the ball. They're really good. They're
They
really
are.
good. I think that game
No, they're good. They're
drew
good.
today.
It's
I mean, they
because
are good.
The
Oh,
game
Burkina
drew
Faso is
today
playing
because
Mauritania, so it's going to be
no,
an
the game
even more
drew today because Angola also put up a good shift.
good fight.
yeah.
Believe me, because had some of
Agreed.
those goals fall in inches,
Yeah,
because it's not
Who do you
because
think?
Algeria did not
Yeah.
create; they created, they scored.
or they
But
created chances.
Who do you
they have
think
good
is
football.
who like if you had to say choose someone? I know I won't say it's just like I don't think anyone stood out today, but I
Oh,
the
Mares! Oh, Mares! There
For
was
the Algeria game.
the
yeah.
Algeria game. Okay,
I
Mares.
think
Me
What is it? Belhali.
no, mine was I noticed the left back, Ad Nodri, the guy who plays for
Oh
Wolves. He
yeah,
was so
Arnold.
comfortable, the left back,
Was
jersey number
Yeah,
15.
you
Wolves.
know?
The guy who plays for
Yeah.
Wolverhampton.
Yeah, you know why I'm shouting so bad about Mares? Because he
No.
has a profile. There's a profile of wingers that
Hmm.
Mares has, and we'll talk about that in the Cameroonian game.
Yes.
Yep.
I think. Well, yeah, Belali was voted
I
the man.
know, I know, I know the profile you're talking about.
Yeah,
We'll get there. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we'll get there
it's
when we talk
surprising
about
that
the
Aid
people.
is still that young. He's I think 22, the youngest of all of the Algerian team. I
No,
think
he played really well. So
did quite
confident
well.
with the ball, man. He was
That's
so
what
good
happened.
moving. He was so good moving forward.
So predictions for the group. Anything change in your minds after seeing Algeria's complacency come back to
Oh,
bite them?
Algeria is still good. Algeria is still good. I think will still make it through to the knockout phase. But like I mentioned, the on 2 days ago, I said Burkina Faso is a team
Mhm.
that I
Yeah,
know they're gonna make it to the round of. They're gonna make it, so they could finish it. It's between Algeria and Burkina Faso. That's
Okay.
why how I look
All
at
right.
it.
What about you,
Yeah,
True Lion? Any?
I still keep the same. I think Angola, as good as they were today, I
Might
don't
not
see
be
them
this way
going.
today.
I don't see them going through.
yeah,
Okay. Maybe
yeah.
a strong third for them. Maybe
Huh?
strong
I'm
third
sorry.
for them for Angola.
We'll see. Football is funny, man. You
That's
play what a good game today
Yeah, but
because
yeah,
you
so
never know.
it could be a strong third for them. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
because
could be.
Mauritania could come tomorrow ready to play, and they can
Yeah, the ones who
take
have
care of Burkina Faso.
Mauritania, they have a keeper who is like 3 meters tall, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
really
Yeah.
tall guy. All right, cool. Well, I don't know. I still think Algeria may not make it out of the group, but let's see how it goes, right? Now, let's talk about the continent. Most Cameroonians were on the edge of their seats throughout the game, especially after the first goal, the Guinean goal, which came in like the 10th minute by Bayo. And from that moment on, it became a thing of I just went to like Twitter, or they call it X nowadays, and I just spent my time just laughing at comments. Cameroonians are quite funny. Um, so I mean, I want to start off this talking about Cameroon's game, Cameroon versus Guinea, by highlighting this comment by our very good friend JC.
Mister, he said, Mister, you
Good
cannot speak
evening,
about
guys.
something we no no. It did not
Did not
disappoint.
disappoint. Um, is that the same sentiment you all share?
Yeah, like I said, Cameroon is Cameroon, but when you do that, if you have mediocre players and an experienced coach, you could go to another level. But when you have a coach who is not experienced, that as in the person of Rigobert Song, I wasn't expecting too much. I wasn't expecting too much. The Cameroon performance today was way below than I expected, but I wasn't expecting Cameroon to win Guinea. I was looking at the draw. I was looking at a tie, but the performance from Cameroon was awful. I
No.
I criticized Nigeria for playing yesterday, but I thought Nigeria had a better game than Cameroon, if you ask me. And the reasons
Okay,
being this: Nigeria was able to give Equatorial Guinea's goalkeeper man of the match,
that's right.
meaning that they created chances, they
Yeah.
created scoring chances.
Mhm.
That's how Equatorial Guinea's goalkeeper became the man of the match. Cameroon didn't. Cameroon had no threat on the Guinea keeper. What? No threat in the first half, two chances in the second half, the goal and the second from Ekambi in the 87 minute. I will talk a little bit about the match. Um, I did from the online, like I mentioned yesterday, from the onset. I didn't expect Cameroon to use three holding midfielders because to me those are holding midfielders. They are not creative guys. I
Uh-huh.
didn't expect Cameroon to use three holding midfielders against Guinea. Secondly, Castelletto at the right back to me was a disaster. You took Cameroon has two, or let's say three right backs, because you have the other guy who plays for Bordeaux, Bekole or Bokoli. You
Cooley.
have Enzo Chato, you have Chamado as right backs, and then you keep all three on the bench and you use Castelletto, who is a good centre back, as a right back. He didn't succeed in crossing any good ball today. And then at some point during the game, you take out Guinea from the start with 11 players. They were not really a threat on the counter or anything. And then they get this red card, and then we come in the second half, we score. Cameroon scores, right?
That's
You
right.
make changes. You change Christopher Wu and Magri. You change Magri and you put a right back
Right
to
back.
play on the left, to play on the right wing, and then you bring Omar Gonzalez to replace Christopher Wu. Those are changes I will be expecting the Guinea coach to make because he's one man down, not Cameroon. If you're taking out Wu, Guinea wasn't any threat on counter when they were 10 man down, even when they were 11. Worse now, they go 10 men down, they're no threat. If you take off Wu and Magri, if you had to take off Magri, because I heard he said during the press conference after the game that Magri asked that he didn't want to continue the game.
That
Bring
tackle.
in Gamale, bring in Clinton J. If you want to take off a defender, you still have Castelletto on the pitch, you still have Darlin Yonga on the pitch, you still
Mhm.
have Harold Mukudi on the pitch.
Could be.
Why are you bringing another defender when you have 11 versus 10 against Guinea, who is not a team that is good on counter or even good on the ball? You know,
But I
so
mean,
those are some of the
who,
things and
who,
then you start relying on crosses which you barely succeed in them. You had one cross that came from Kudu to Magri that gave the goal. None of the crosses were comfortable. Bring people who could keep the ball. As long as Clinton is not as good as he used to be, but if you ask me, he's one of the most technically gifted guys we have now in the team. Bring in someone who can keep the ball, commit fouls, or put some panic on the defenders, commit some fouls. Bring in Gamalo, who has the firepower on the right flank if you had to take out Magri. When I saw the lineup, I saw Magri on the wing and Ekambi on the right. I was like, okay, sorry, Ekambi as a center forward. I was like, okay, maybe Song has been watching the way Guinea plays and he has something to proof the Cameroonians with. But I didn't see any reason for that. And then at some point, I thought Ekambi was going to maybe bring out the Kambi, take out Margaret to the point, and then bring in a winger to be whipping those crosses because that's how Margaret scored. Nothing. And then you wait for the 85th minute to bring in a striker. So that's to sum it up, I don't think and some people are talking about Abubakar being absent. Abubakar's absence should not be the reason Cameroon should draw against Guinea, playing 50 minutes plus with 11 versus 10,
One man
and
down.
then not being able to dominate. You have three players in the midfield. You have three natural center backs playing on the pitch against a team that is 10 versus 11. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand why he had to do that. He may be trying to. Well, let's wait and see what. But for today, I'm giving my analysis based on today's game. Senegal's game may be different. I'm not going to say that, oh, these guys mess up, Senegal will kill them. No. Based on today's game, the performance was horrible. No one stood out for Cameroon, if you ask me. No one stood out for Cameroon. Like,
Not even George
yeah.
Kevin Kudu.
No, Kudu had his moments, but I'm talking about consistency throughout the game. He had his moments, but he wasn't. The only good thing I can say about Kudu is that he was the only one on the pitch
Kept going.
who tried to do his
Kept
thing
trying.
without any panic. All the players were scared. He's the only one who said, okay, let me keep the ball, try to do one or two things, Every other
Yeah.
one was they doing the diagonal passes like they were leading 1-0 in a return leg of a Champions League semi-finals and they're waiting for the 90th referee to sound the final whistle. That's how they played. And then you keep Kemen, Cham, and Angisa on the pitch till the 85th minute when you have attacking players on the bench. So I don't know exactly what the coach was doing, but I'm not a tactician. But
I mean,
the little I know about football, I don't think he got his stuff right today.
quite a mouthful from you, Ajab, and I understand the frustration is palpable there. But you have actually pointed a few things that, a few folks have been chatting about and raising hell about on social media. But your analysis is quite on point. I want you to just hold the thoughts. Let's hear from Tru3lion, and then we go through everything you've said and try to dissect point by point. The one thing that clearly stands out is the fact that we had um, half of the game, a little over half of the game to play with a man advantage, and the team did not create anything to write home about with that one man advantage. Tru3lion, what are your thoughts about the game? I saw a video you released already with some guided words for some folks who are trying to make excuses. Do you attribute this to the team missing out on the Pacey Mbuemo, who is currently injured, or Vincent Abubakar's presence in the top in the defense box, or how do you um, see this game and how it played out?
Well, Mbeumo, we already knew he wouldn't be coming. We have 27 players that the coach actually called. So sometimes when I remember someone asked me what if I agree with the coaches if I did agree with the coaches selection. Of course, I can only agree with the coaches selections uh, when I don't know what or I've not seen them play together, right?
Mhm.
So I'll have this question: what is the profile of a right back? What is the profile of a winger, of a right winger? I talked earlier about Mares, right?
That's right.
When you see Mares play, he's a lefter, but he plays on the right hand side. Today we have Magri, who is not pacey,
That's right.
who is like a DJ Drogba. Is not that mobile, who cannot cross, but yet Rigobert some takes him. That's it. He has a profile of a center forward, takes a guy who can only play center forward and plays him as a right winger, who doesn't have a profile of a right winger. He cannot run beyond, he cannot cross the ball, he can't do any of those. Then you take another player, a central defender, who doesn't have a profile of a right back, and put him on the same side. So there's nothing going on down that lane. There's nothing. The cross is poor. He cannot dribble and come. The only time he had initiative, he took initiative to come inside. And now the second block of the Guinea squad
Guinea
was
squad.
behind.
Yep.
They considered that red card. You see what I'm talking about? So when you see Mares play on the right and he cuts inside, he opens up the field and opens up. So that's exactly the same thing that happened. The only time it happened, we got a red card. I think Rigoberto had it wrong. I'll give him a one. I'll give him a 1 out of 10. That's how bad Rigoberto.
A one for participation.
Yes, a one for participation, because it's not because we don't have the players. When you have a team that's not as talented, what you don't do is start changing roles or positions of players. What you do is try to look for them to play as a unit, and then for them to be competitive all over the field. And that's what actually Cameroon could not do, playing one man up. It was that bad.
Yeah. From the
I
mid,
mean, think
they
about it.
created no chance from the center.
Yes,
All the time was relying on crosses. And Castelletto naturally is not a right back. There you play him as a right back, and then
and you put someone in front of him.
you try to rely on him for all the crosses. He played the entire first half. He didn't succeed in giving any correct cross. Second half, you still focus on him. Kudu,
Ex-
who was the one who was trying to give you some of the accurate crosses, you limited play.
Exactly,
Second half,
because
you
what
limited
happens is
play. He had a few crosses. The one he caught, and then you limited play. You focused more on the right flank, and then you took off Magri, thinking that you may bring a pacing Gamale. You bring in Chamado, who is like a right back, to play there. I thought maybe he's trying to say, okay, Chamado will be there to give crosses because he's a right back, but
That's right.
Chamado will not Castelletto will never overlap, so he won't give Chamado that space. So those are the things. And if I watched the second half of the game, had it been I started watching the game from the second half, I wouldn't even know Guinea was 10. They had one man down. I would just think
Yeah.
Cameroon was
I think,
pressing without
and
creating
Yeah,
chances.
because
and
because sometimes, yeah, I'm sorry about that. Because sometimes when people try to make excuses, right, those excuses are not valid, because you just have to go back to the basics. You say, okay, what's the role of this? What's the role? Like Ayab said, you are using three defensive guys. So guess what? A guy like was it Moriba?
Yeah, Moriba,
yeah,
the
The
young
young
Moriba.
guy
Brazilian
that
who played
was
for
played in
Barcelona, Moriba.
Barcelona.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Moriba.
Morina was with 10 man, one man down. Moriba was bossing the midfield. Can you imagine? And
and
look
I
at
think so. I think that's why when he took out Christopher, who he thought, okay, let me get another defender in just because Guinea still looked very dangerous. He took out
No, Guinea had no threat. The
bro,
thing,
bro,
Guinea
In
had
that second
nothing on
half,
the
there was a
counter.
few balls that actually went, yeah,
bro. But do you know why? Do you know
some
why?
balls actually got over the defensive line,
Yeah, do you know
and
why?
they were
It's
just not
because
clinical enough to get to him.
yeah, do you know why? It's because football is like a puzzle, right?
That's
If
right.
you don't have players that can hold the ball, pull, double teaming, and create mismatches,
Yes,
the whole everything is just the dominoes just falls. You see what I'm saying?
That's true.
So when you have 10 men and you want to attack, you don't pull out a striker who just scored. You don't pull out a defender, or you don't bring in two defenders
Defenders to help.
in a
So
game where you have numerical advantage.
this is the one thing I
I have no problem taking out Wu if he was injured or maybe he wanted to rest Wu. You can't do a like for like substitution in a game you're dominating and
you need to win.
you're one and the one man down.
Yeah, that's
That's where I
true.
had the issue.
That's
Because
They're
true.
one man
And that's
down,
where the
you're
biggest issue.
dominating.
remember,
They are not pacey.
yeah,
You take out a defender and you put a defender.
yeah. Remember,
And
I
that's
Like for
where
like.
I think that's where I agree with is it JC who said that the coach is just very incompetent.
yeah,
I wouldn't go as far as calling him incompetent. I would say maybe just miscalculation. Because I still have hopes in Cameroon, right? They were we have to look at the numbers, right? Let's look at the numbers for a second.
no. I
Seventy
refuse. I
percent
refuse what
possession.
you
Just
just
think
said.
No,
about
no,
this.
no, no.
I
Forget
just want to
about
give you
position.
perspective. Hold
Forget
on,
about
hold on.
ball position.
Let me
Forget
just
about ball position.
play devil's advocate for a second. Let me just play devil's advocate. Cameroon is my favorite team in this tournament. Let me
Okay.
just play devil's
Let's go
advocate.
ahead.
70% possession, all
Mm-hmm.
right, versus 30% possession of the
Okay.
from
No, it's
Guinea.
okay. It's okay. Go ahead.
13 shots on target versus
Mm-hmm.
6 shots on target for Guinea. Of
Okay.
course, just two on target. 13 shots, sorry,
Uh-huh.
overall, but two on
Mm-hmm.
target. Only two on target. Um, almost doubled the number of passes. We had 377 passes accurate. They had
Okay.
just 123.
Okay.
I think the fact that we started off the game with such slowness kind of
Um,
affected us.
can I
Because
sorry?
I think it's at the
Can I
point where
interrupt
we
you? Can I
scored
interrupt
that we
you?
realized that I think the guys may have realized, okay, these guys came to play and we need to be serious about this game.
How many of those 10,000 passes Cameroon made? How many of them were in the Guinea box? 18 box.
I don't think up to 10% of them were in the
Okay.
opposition
Okay.
box. Let me
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Nico. Let me
yeah,
tell you
we
something,
had
bro.
we had
Bro,
5 touches in the opposition box. That's bad.
bro, let me tell you something. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you a
Yes, go
question.
for it.
We are in a group of four. Are we only competing against Guinea?
No, no,
No.
no,
What I'm trying
no.
to say is that listen. What I'm trying to say is that when you go into a game as favorites, right? Your
Hmm.
main objective is that you are trying to win this game. You are not competing with Guinea because you know Guinea normally is the inferior team. You are
Hmm.
going there to beat them. So what was Guinea doing? They were sitting in the mid block. They were not even pressing in
Yes.
the second half. So they were sitting in the mid block because they didn't have numbers. But if you see in the first half, they were pressing, and that's how that goal came about.
Yeah.
From a mistake from Kemen because
So let's talk about Kemen. You just mentioned. I actually wanted us to talk about Kemen. Was he the right choice to play in that position today? I know in our predictions for the lineups, we all looked at the lineup and thought Kemen, Cham, and Angisa
We
would
start.
be a good pairing because
yes,
of what we have available, right?
Yeah.
So what are your
I
thoughts
had three of them. I had three of them to start there with
now?
Cham as the center
The
guy,
defensive
and then Kemen
yeah,
and Angisa.
CDM.
That's how I had it. So, but
That's
I don't think the goal came because Kemen was playing in that position. Because if you notice, it was still
they
a
were
minor
rotating. I
collision
think at some point, yeah,
between Cham and Kemen.
that's
It was
right.
still a collision. It could be anyone at that position. So, I want to forget about it. Happens. Shit happens. I want to forget about that error that led to the goal and look at Kemen's game overall.
That's right.
Because some people will say, oh, and someone will say, oh, 0 on 10 equals
So
what goal.
his
I don't
rating
want
for
to
the
focus
game
on
was
that.
5.8 because he
Yeah.
had quite a lot of misplaced passes today.
No, no, no. Yeah, he didn't have. That's what I said. I don't want to focus on the goal only. I want to look at other things he contributed to the game. His
Okay, so
shots, his accuracy wasn't the best in
that's right.
terms of even short passes.
yeah.
Uh,
I think his decision making
making. Yeah.
Yeah.
was one of the most difficult things to watch because
Mhm.
imagine you just see one of your players go down. And also, okay, let me bring in some controversy, right?
Mhm.
Because a lot of you guys are not talking about it because we are focused on Cayman's mistake.
No, I am
But
not
that
focused
goal,
on
no,
Clement
no,
mistake.
no,
Go
I'm
ahead.
coming. It's about that goal too. It's
Yeah,
about
You
that
want
goal.
to talk about the pass
that's
from
the right
Harold
goal.
Mukudi?
Oh
That's
no,
the right
no,
goal.
no,
Okay.
no. I'm talking about the shot, the initial shot,
Yes.
and the goalkeeper punching that shot down the
Straight back
middle
ahead instead of
instead
pointing it to the side.
to the side. Okay.
I
Then,
did
then
I did see that.
yeah. So that's a goalkeeper error too. So
But think
then
about it. There were two
listen,
defenders in the box that could
listen,
have
but
cleared that
listen.
ball.
But yes, I'm coming. It's progressive, right? Then
Hmm.
Kevin, you see your player go down after he tries to clear his zone, right? Because
Hmm.
he is seeing a bunch of players now pressing, a bunch of
Hmm.
Guinea players pressing. So he tries to clear the ball. They block the ball, they collide, right? The
Hmm.
player is down. Kevin, you just saw that you are numerically inferior because
Yeah.
one player is down. Secondly, you have the opportunity to clear the ball. You don't. So that's why I say his decision making was poor,
Was
and that's
odd.
how we considered that goal. Because when he knew he was in trouble, he tries to pass it. But guess what? The player that was even defending the guy who scored was down. So it was an easy goal. So that
So
was I'm
comedy
sorry.
of errors, right? Comedy of errors in that instance.
Exactly, because
Let's say
first of all, you have
comedy
the
of
goalkeeper
errors.
that could have pushed it wide.
Goalkeeper who punches it right back into the center, and
Yes,
somebody else is bearing down on it versus punching it to the side. A defender who tries to clear and he falls over, he misses his clearance. It literally bears down on his own defender, on his
yep.
own player. Then Kemen, who is now trying to turn around versus just push it
And
out for
it started from Youngwa giving that sluggish.
Youngwa with
I mean,
yep.
no,
There you
no,
go.
no. Younger had not. Younger threw the ball in.
Mm.
Harold.
Kudu.
Harold Mukudi.
It was Harold.
Oh yeah. Then Kudu doing that sluggish pass because
Mm-hmm.
that's what. Then that it went out. Then how that's how it bailed out to become a goal.
Okay, great, great. Well. I mean, not that it's great. It's just comedy of errors. We'll give it up. We'll leave it at that. But let's talk about Guinea's presence. Kamara in the midfield.
That's
That
my guy.
that kid did an amazing job today.
Anjibo Kamara was
Right?
my guy.
Yeah, he
I
was
think I think the
everywhere.
red card slowed his game. If you watch the way he played before the red card, you knew he was gonna
Yes.
dominate that game.
Yeah.
The young guy, I love the young guy. He plays in the Greek Super League.
He's on loan.
Yeah,
That's
he's on loan.
actually.
He's on loan from Olympiacos.
That's
Yeah, he
right.
plays for at Tromitos or something like that. He
Actually,
was good, very
yes,
confident with the ball, and he's this shot. So he didn't care playing with giants. He was so confident. His decision making was awesome, and I was
100% tackles won,
yeah, he was good.
100% tackles
That's
won,
that's
100%
that's that's my
successful
man. That's
dribbles.
my man of the match. That's my man of the match.
Yep,
And
100% tackles won, 100% successful dribbles. Passes into the final third, 6 passes into the final third. Of course, non XG. He intercepted the ball 1 time. He cleared the ball 2 times. Tackles won 100%. Duels, 7 duels. He won 6 of them. Aerial duels, he won 2 out of 5. Ground duels, 5 out of 8. His stats are pretty good. I was quite impressed.
So
He was
sometimes I don't
awesome
even
at midfield.
pay attention to some of those stats because they make you don't enjoy football anymore. I just
Yeah,
want to look football like I want to enjoy the game. Sometimes, when they
I mean,
put
yeah,
those
the way I look
tackles,
at
this,
stats,
this, you don't enjoy the game anymore.
the way I look at stats is just is there to make you understand your the analysis or the
The
game
analysis,
setup.
yeah.
It doesn't come before the game. It
hmm
comes after the
actually.
game. You
Well,
understand?
data is the new oil in the
Oh
market.
yeah,
That's
because
true.
people
That's true.
understand it.
That's true.
Data counts. There are coaches who rely on data to make a lot of decisions, right?
Oh yeah,
Nowadays.
no, every coach is
So
every
yeah,
coach relies on
yeah.
data. Every coach.
So
Every
let's talk. Let's talk about that save by Kone, where Toko Ekambi had the ball with like 2 minutes to go, and he
Yeah.
decided to like just put it right where the keeper was going to do a television save, quote unquote television save. Um, you could see when the producers of the game panned to Eto, and he was explaining to Mboma like tu fais comme ça. I could read the lips. I tried at least. Do you think that in itself, and the fact that Toko Ekambi was almost absent throughout the game, um, that should in fact earn him a spot on the bench for the next game, or how do you see that?
That miss shouldn't be a reason a Kambi should sit out for next match.
Okay,
That's not a miss you could blame a Kambi for. He was struggling in between two defenders from Guinea and he had the shot. The keeper made a good save. Ekambi's overall performance was below par. That should be the reason he should be benched. Prior to the 87th minute where he missed that goal, he was basically absent from the game. That's why I was very surprised when they changed. I thought even if you didn't want to take out Ekambi because we had 11 versus 10,
hmm
even if you would have brought in if you don't want to bring in Clinton or what's his name, Clinton or Ngamale, bring
Yamale,
in a striker, Mumbanya or something,
yes,
Mumbanyang. Bring him in and send Ekambi. Ekambi has been playing as a winger for God knows how long, and you come on a day like this and use him as a striker, and it's not working. He stays there. If you notice, most of the time he was coming right out of the 18-meter box to get the
yeah,
balls.
to
His
get the ball.
runs were not there. We had a
So
frustrating, we had a frustrating right flank. The right flank was
yes,
lacking
it was
fluidity.
very
Fluidity. Both Magri and
little.
Castelletto in the first half, and then when Chamade came in, he was lacking fluidity. But he kept his runs too were not good enough.
All
So
right.
I don't think that goal, that miss, should be the reason he should sit out if they have to put him out. His entire performance prior to the 87th minute, it's a good recipe for
I
him to be
mean,
out.
yeah, I mean that goes back to what I say. You take 4, 5, 6 players and put them in roles they are not mediocre players and put them in roles they are not comfortable with. Even a Kambi, as you just said, he's been struggling lately. A player who is struggling,
As a
what
winger,
what do you do as a coach? You take
no,
them back to their strength,
yeah,
which
no, the
is
problem
to
is,
play or the win.
yeah, sorry,
Okay.
True Lion, sorry to interrupt. Even as a winger, Ekambi has been struggling,
Yeah,
and
but
then you
that's
go,
what I'm saying, bro.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying,
and
right?
then you go put him
So,
as a striker.
so his best role is winger.
Yeah,
That's right.
So if he's struggling and winger,
hmm
you as a coach, you take him and put him at center forward. What do you expect?
yeah,
You see,
So
that's what I'm saying. So for me, it's not about who plays. You see what I'm saying? It's not
Okay.
about who plays. Because if I say bring Clinton J, tomorrow Clinton J, you take Clinton J and put maybe
Center
in the
forward.
midfield, he will struggle also. And then we'll say, I know we tell you,
All right.
Yes,
you don't play
So
five.
let's
yes,
round
What
this
no,
I'm
up.
that's
saying is
true,
that
exactly.
what I'm saying is that let's brace ourselves because this Rigobert song has nothing to offer. I will say this because even in the next game, the guys will come and play, and
Mhm.
maybe you'll be surprised they will beat
Senegal. Thursday. Senegal.
Senegal,
That's
and
right.
then we'll go again. When we celebrate mediocrity, just as we did in the World Cup, we beat Brazil. Everybody was saying song,
Yeah,
song, song, song.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
shall, we shall fail, and
yeah,
that's the same thing that
yeah.
I'm trying to
Exactly.
say.
That's the right phrase. We're
Because we
celebrating
didn't celebrate,
mediocrity.
we
Yeah,
celebrating mediocrity. Are you
yeah.
telling me that there was no other midfielder with a different profile that Rigobert Song could try? Ngabalo had 3 assists last World Cup. The next person that had assists with him was a right back. Five. I
Yeah, right.
criticize
Yeah.
five. I criticize five over here, but I bet you five, even without a club, would go
Yes,
and give better crosses at that right back. I
yes,
bet you, even
Okay.
without a club, five
yes,
will give better crosses at that right back. So
All
when
right.
yes.
I say when we celebrate mediocrity, we shall always fail. But that's the truth.
I love you
That's
guys
the
for
truth.
this. I
No, but
love
that's
it.
true.
Okay.
That no, what he's saying makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Cameroon beat Brazil and everything is like, oh, okay, that's it. The world is coming to an end. We beat Brazil. What do you want to do? How many African Song is the first African coach to beat Brazil at the World Cup? Why you guys and then they start talking about Djibril Cissé, where you guys are how did Djibril Cissé start? Djibril Cissé started different from Song. Djibril Cissé was the coach of the junior and the Olympic team. You saw success in him bringing up a team. Song had coached the U23, coached the amateur national team, and he didn't succeed. And then he was promoted to the senior team based on his performance, underperforming there. So I don't when people start saying give him time, I'm not saying they shouldn't give him time, but don't start comparing him with Cisse. Cisse is for Senegal. This is Cameroon, and Cisse has a good track record. Since he joined the national team, things have been better. If you look at his percentage, it's good. And I don't even want to go there. So I don't even want to go
Because
there. When people start
yeah,
saying comparing him with Cisse, it's another story for another day.
All right. That's quite a mouthful. Okay. So I just want to ask you guys this question, and it's and then we'll follow up. Luis, thank you so much for your question in the comments. That's an amazing question, and I think we should come to that. So about today's game, if you were asked to name the one thing that caused the Cameroon national team not to win today's game, what would you say did it? What would you
If
say did us in?
poor lineup.
Okay, and that's going to the coach.
I would just say coach because the
Coach?
lineup and the tactics. Because sometimes you see coaches using wrong lineup, but you see a team playing well, but just because the lineup, but the lineup was bad. The performance is everything was it's not just the lineup, the
All right.
tactics, everything
So
was
it's
bad.
down to the coach then.
Yeah,
Down
it's
to the
down to the
coach.
coach, man. I know the
Okay.
players are not that skilled. The players are not like skilled as that, but the coach shares 80% of the blame for today.
All right. Um, so the next question, I want to take a question. Luis has a question here. In terms of the lineup, what changes do you hope to see against Senegal?
Well, in terms of the lineup, I expect just go back to the basics. Play everybody if possible at their position.
Hmm.
Play everybody if possible at at their position. Because when you start making it difficult and they don't know their roles and the team is not moving in a synchronic way, they are not actually in sync, then it makes the team actually struggle,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
cannot struggle like that. You cannot struggle like that against Senegal and expect to make it out of the next
yeah,
to the next round.
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
because the
So
reason I'm saying it has to do with the coach wrong poor lineup and even the tactics. Like you put in the few players who were out of position. That in itself already explains it right away. And it's not like you have players injured. You still have the only player injured is Abubakar. You still have 26 players. Those 26 players, you have three right backs who are out on the bench, and you have a centre back playing as a right back. And like yesterday, Tru3lion was saying the song is trying to keep it safe. That's where I had a problem. And I mentioned yesterday, Guinea should not be that team you're trying to play safe by using a defensive, a centre back to play right back.
center back for a right back.
Throw the Enzos or the Chamados and the Darlin Younger. Move forward, overlap, do the game. Guinea will sit back and will play the ball from the middle and score. If your crosses don't work, you penetrate from the middle. That's why I still stand Nigeria had a better game than Cameroon. If
Okay.
Owono of Equatorial Guinea was voted man of the match, it means he made some saves. And making those saves means Nigeria created chances, not flukes. They created. He had some reasonable amounts of saves. So you can't play a game for 50 plus minutes and the goalkeeper. I'm telling you, like I said yesterday, the Guinea keeper will use the same jersey against Gambia because he didn't sweat. The jersey wasn't dirty. He's going to use the same jersey. He won't waste that time printing another jersey.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's not all lost. To hear
No,
you
no, no,
guys
no,
speak,
no. It's
it
not
would
all
be
lost.
like Cameroon
Like I
lost
said,
the
it's not
game.
it's not all lost. Like I said, I'm my analysis or the way I'm talking today based on today's game. You might come in on Thursday against Senegal and you see a completely different
Different
Indomitable
team.
Lions, right?
Maybe that's
So
what
my
he's
my,
hoping
my
to do.
my talk today is based on the performance for today. No, True Lion, that's true. That keeper will use the same jersey against Gambia. There's no need changing the jersey unless
All right. Let me quote.
maybe he had to swap jerseys with Ondua. If not, he'll use the same jersey. Not wasting material for another jersey when you barely used the jersey. So yeah,
Let me quote. Let me quote the star of our conversation today. Dieu va nous accompagner la prochaine fois pour qu'on puisse marquer ce qui nous a manqué aujourd'hui. That's from song, basically saying that God is going to
yeah, and then
accompany
he
the
said,
team next
yeah, he
game.
said God is gonna
Yeah,
guide. God is gonna guide. Then just resign and
So
allow
he's
God to
I
relying
coach.
on
mean,
God for that.
Just
I
just
mean,
step down and allow God to coach us. Why what's that?
no, but
All right.
I mean, somewhere down la comédie.
Yeah, yeah. I still have hope. I think Cameroon generally finds a way to make things happen when we need
Yeah,
them to do it. And so
we
I
could.
think the game against Senegal, while Senegal may come in with a lot of confidence, thinking, okay, they're already topping the group because they scored 3 goals against Gambia, they might just receive a shock on Thursday when they meet Cameroon. So I'm not thinking everything is lost.
No, no,
If
no.
we look at the standings on the group now, Group C has Senegal up with 3 points, three goal difference plus three. Cameroon is second just because of alphabetical order, and 1 point. Guinea,
Probably,
same thing,
probably,
1 point, 1 goal scored,
maybe,
1 goal against,
maybe, probably
and
fair
then
play. Fair play could
yeah,
also count because I remember
yeah,
Senegal being
cards,
kicked
yellow
out of the
cards, and
World.
red card.
Yeah,
That's
Senegal was
right.
kicked out of the World Cup in
Yeah,
2018 because of fair play.
because of yeah.
Yeah, they had
So I
same
think that's
points,
the
same
order.
goals conceded,
Yeah,
same
same
goals
goals,
scored, but they had
everything, and then
yeah,
but
and
the
they were
yellow
kicked out due
cards.
to fair play. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah. You're right. You're right. And Gambia is of course last in the group. Um, any takeaways from today's conversation, gentlemen? Let me just throw it out there, guys. If you're on and following in the audience, please do subscribe. Put your comments in so we can discuss those points. Right, questions that come in are quite important. They kind of help guide our conversation sometimes.
Luis
You know,
Luis asked a question about what was his question again about the
about
lineup
what
for
you would
next
change.
game. What could change? Okay, okay. So
Yes, for the game
True
against
Lion
Senegal.
already True Lion already
You
answered.
already
Yeah,
elaborated. Yeah,
stick to the fundamentals. Stick to the
yeah.
fundamentals of the game.
Fundamental.
Sometimes we try to complicate stuff for no reason. Stick to some of
Yeah.
this. Yeah, stick to the fundamentals, and I think it should.
So,
Yeah,
predictions for the game versus Senegal.
no, we'll get there on Wednesday.
We'll get. You have all. You want to take time to think about
I
it.
want
Yeah.
to take time to digest the performance today.
Yeah,
We'll get to it Thursday.
and
All right.
it's also like this, right? When you play a game, when you play a game of football as an underdog, right?
Mm-hmm.
You play differently. Cameroon against Senegal is gonna be an underdog. If Cameroon, what Cameroon needs to do is that if Cameroon is clinical,
Mm-hmm.
they can they can get a good result in that game if they are clinical because
Yes.
Senegal Senegal is gonna attack, right? And
Yeah.
then Cameroon might have some speed to run behind that high line. Today, Cameroon had problems because Guinea was defending deep, and Cameroon finds it difficult to create.
Mm-hmm.
But when Senegal will play that high defensive line, the game might just be different. And if Senegal is not clinical, it's not if they come on a bad day and they don't bring their shooting boots, then Cameroon can actually cause them some problems.
But
Yeah.
mind you, Senegal plays three at the back, and it's not three at the back that they stay at the back. So they have three at the
Oh,
back. Diallo plays at the back. Nyakate plays at the back with Koulibaly. They stay at the back. Then they use their wing backs, Crepin Diatta and Jacobs.
Yep.
And then they have the young guy who scored the first goal sitting. So it will not be easy for Cameroon to break the even
Yeah.
if they play in
I'm
high
not
line.
saying.
But
I'm not saying.
you
I'm not
only
saying it's.
become
you can't count Song out, right?
yeah. No,
Song
I'm
has
not
the
counting
right
Cameroon
tactics
out.
to
I'm not
take
counting Cameroon
apart
out. Like
that
I said,
defense and
I'm
midfield.
talking about today's game. And when you're going to play Senegal, Senegal doesn't look like a team that is going to be complacent or going to come that Cameroon didn't perform against Guinea. If you listen to what Mane said, he said Cameroon is Cameroon. Even when Cameroon met Senegal in 2017, Senegal looked like the favorites. Cameroon frustrated them. I know we'll go back to say because of the coach Cameroon had, but it's different. I've never seen Cisse play a game like I'm taking these guys for granted. And more to that, we're talking about Cameroon. Shit happens in football. Egypt lost the first game last Nations Cup and they ended up playing the finals, So it's possible Senegal will never undermine Cameroon. The
Oh
good thing
yeah.
is that
Oh yeah.
Senegal
And
will never undermine
they
Cameroon.
wanna they wanna win this.
The
They wanna
problem
win.
is you said Cameroon is clinical. I'm sorry, Cameroon will win that game if they become clinical. You only become clinical when you create chances. If you don't create chances, you cannot become clinical.
Yeah, and
Even if God, even I know the coach is talking
true,
about God will see us through. God will
true.
only see you through when you work hard.
Yeah, I do agree with you, but there's one thing about Cameroon, right? There's one thing about Cameroon.
Hmm.
When you least expect from them, they have that thing again with them, right?
Yeah,
And then corner kicks and free kick. If you see the what's his name, Kudu,
Kudu.
he is good whipping those balls in.
Yes.
That song just put the right person on
That's
there.
what that's
If
what I
song
said.
just
I
put the
saw
right person
I thought
on
a
there,
Cambi. I thought even if you want to keep a Cambi, when you were taking out the Magri or you're taking out Wu, bring in an attacker and someone who can whip those
exactly,
crosses from the right, while
exactly,
Kudu is whipping it from the left.
exactly.
Something would have happened. That's what I thought
So
was
that's
going to
why we're
happen.
saying
But,
Song just needs to go back to the basics. If he
yeah,
goes back to the basics,
stick to the fundamentals. Stick to the fundamentals. Like
that's just it. Because
yeah, it's proven. Yeah,
yeah,
Castelletto is not good. Castelletto is not good as a right back. I
no,
only hope he's going to notice that. Maybe he
never.
didn't realize that.
That the performance today just made me believe what people were saying. Say just call fight.
Mhm.
And I'm a guy.
Yes,
I'm a guy who said that fight cannot come. But
exactly.
today, after seeing this game, I believe what some people were
Yeah,
saying.
people were saying like Massa. People started hey Massa on a call fire. We need to see crosses. We're not seeing crosses. I was like, no, Fai hasn't played for that long. Fai is good. He hasn't played. He hasn't been in a competitive game for
But,
that long. So
but guess
let's
what?
give him time. He just got a club.
But
He
guess
just
what?
got a club like 1 week before the list was out. So maybe he's not that competitive.
Yeah,
But
but
based
guess
on
what
what
I
I
have?
saw today,
But guess what I
Fai
have?
would have been better as a right
Guess
back.
what I have? We cannot say that again. We cannot be that confident saying that because we have not even seen the right backs. We have not
Mhm.
even seen Enzo
Yes,
Chacha.
but a game like this against Guinea, you're playing against 10-man Guinea, right? And it's
Hmm.
1-1. You're playing against 10 Guinea. Guinea is 10, you're 11. You're dominating the game. This is the game that you need to try those guys. You want to try it against Senegal?
Exactly, exactly.
You
True.
want to
Work,
try it against Senegal? This is
What?
the game to try those guys.
But
Or
guess what?
alone.
you had
All right.
friendly games. You had friendly matches, test games before the AFCON. Try those guys and see if they're good.
But I
Don't
have,
tell us they were not good in training.
but I have.
Try them
Are
during
you
the
not the
match.
one? I mean, are you not the one just told me that we have 19-year-olds like playing for Algeria and all those teams, young players and all that?
Yes.
Is that it's just that the coach has not done his duties. The coach has not actually put the player, give them the confidence, or he doesn't actually know what he's doing. He's just a puppet. And I've been
All
saying
right.
this a long time ago. Song is a puppet.
I think we've beat up on Song enough.
No, I'm
I,
saying I've not,
I appreciate
I've
your
not
candor,
given up.
guys. Gentlemen.
I've not given up on him yet. I haven't
Oh
given up
no,
on
yeah,
him yet.
Oh no,
that's
no,
I
no,
appreciate that.
no. Guess
Nobody's
what?
giving
Guess
up.
what? Guess what? It's not about. I didn't have anything to do with Rigoberto. So I just wanted him to show me what he has got as a plan for the
Mhm.
27-man squad he chose. Because we will not even go into Matip because if we start Moting, because if we bring Moting, it's going to be a distraction.
Yes,
But you took these players. You took Douala. You took Eloyd. They are attacking midfielders. Why don't you play them, Rigoberto?
yes. In a game like this, you have a game
You
like
have
this.
10, when you have 10 people.
Dwala wasn't on the bench. At least Elliot was on the bench.
Why don't you bring in Eloyd?
Why? At some point at 80th minute, take
Yeah, I
off
think that's
Angisa,
funny
take off
because
Cham,
I
or
mean
at least
we
keep
had
one of
only
them,
three
Angisa or
changes, and
Cham,
those
keep
three
one of
changes
them,
came.
and give Elliot
Yeah,
these are the kind of games that Elliot can use to cement his spot in the national team.
that's right.
Use these games.
And
Now you go against Senegal, things may be too tough, and then you say people will say,
very
ah,
correct.
Master, that picking no get power, I know be play. These are the games to use those people who are creative, who are good on
Those
the ball.
technical
These were the
players,
games
yeah.
to use those guys who are
So
good
I
on the
mean,
ball.
yeah, that's something I think someone, I think the gentleman who was commenting on the game on Supersport actually noted Song made three changes quite late too. 75th minute, 76th minute, and then 85th minute.
Yeah,
So
the
there
same,
isn't much that you can do in those at those times, and it looks
very
like two
similar.
of the changes were forced by
Is
injury, right? Where
yeah,
yeah, forced changes.
can
So
can
it's understandable. Understandable. The
I
game is
probably
done and
think
dusted
yeah.
now. Clumsy team, team that's not connecting the dots, team that's not working hard enough to cover for each other. A midfield that was quite porous. A lot of timid passes today, mistakes left and right. That cost us a win.
The changes.
Um,
This is yeah.
so,
This is
and then
like a
of course
biscuit.
the coaches changes. So the coaches' choices, it comes down to the coaches' choices,
Mm-hmm.
and I agree. I think something has got to change so that the next outing Cameroon has would bear a little bit better fruit, and we'll have some more fun talking about it. So we're at the hour mark. I really was hoping that we'll keep this to 45 minutes, but there's just so much to dissect and take
Yeah,
apart
yeah.
from today's
Yeah,
performance that it's allowed that we go over the 45 minutes. I think we've had a few folks on who have really participated and really listened in, and we really appreciate you guys
yeah.
staying on.
Thank
Um,
you, JC. Thank you, Julius. Thank you,
thank
Luis.
That's
Yeah,
right. Thank you
thanks
guys
for
so
your
much for being
participation.
faithful,
Yeah,
staying on. And we're not closing out yet. I just want us, before we go, we almost didn't get to watch the game today because of technical issues, right? Senegal's, the red card that was given out to the Gambian player, we all missed because there were no pictures. For those
mm-hmm.
of us watching from outside of Africa,
Mm-hmm.
the images did not come through. And I just want to point out and actually echo this. And I actually sent a message to CAF. As you know, a tournament like this where everybody's eyes in the world are fixed on Africa, they have to ensure that the media piece is taken care of to the fullest. You don't give out a contract to somebody who is an amateur company to provide these images to these companies because international broadcasters literally will red flag you and not want to work with you anymore. And I think one of the technical issues happening on the third day of play, when we still have a long month to go in this tournament, or there just about, it's kind of disappointing, for lack of a better term. And I believe that we need to do better. And hopefully, these guys understand the impact, and they felt it when everybody, Sky Sports, Super Sport, everybody was putting up a message. Sorry, the image, the signal is not coming from outside from Yamoussoukro or or Abidjan and whatever. I just hope that CAF is paying attention and that's there we don't get into these situations anymore. It would really it spells bad news for the competition because everybody is really watching. There are other leagues going on now and very few people are talking about that. Very
Yeah.
few Africans are talking about the Premier League at this point. Very few Africans are talking about any other tournaments ongoing. Real Madrid played Barcelona yesterday, and I think there was literally no banter in some of our social media sites because everybody's fixated on Africa, on Ivory Coast for the African Nations Cup. So, African Cup of Nations. So I really hope that this situation gets handled and we don't run into these things anymore. But gentlemen, parting words, parting thoughts, good luck message to Cameroon, and anything you want to say to send to Song. Maybe he
So
should pray harder.
like like Tru3lion said, stick to the fundamentals against Senegal. Senegal will never undermine Cameroon. Senegal knows Cameroon is going to come for them. So it's not like Senegal is going to win Cameroon. It's that easy. Even if they end up winning Cameroon, but it's never something you can predict before the game that it's going to be an easy game. But if you look like I just thought of something. The same
Mhm.
changes Cameroon made is very similar to the same changes Nigeria made. So I don't know if Cameroon and Nigeria they're living in the same, they're having the same hotel. The coaches they have the same mentor because
Mhm.
it just happened. It's coincidence or something. You're 1-1. Nigeria was 1-1. You take off an attacking minded left back in the name of Sanusi and you bring in Kevin Bassi, who is a centre back, to play as a left back. Same thing for Cameroon. So I don't know if the coaches, Nigeria and Cameroon coaches, if they're sharing the same hotel or they have the same mentor or role model. I don't know. So
All
those are my
right.
parting words. But like I said, it's Cameroon. Cameroon is Cameroon, like I've always been saying. After they sing the national anthem and you have 11 guys on the pitch, it could be a different ball game against Senegal. I know people always say, but the coach, but sometimes you can win a game out of, like, I watched Cameroon winning the Olympic Games in 2000, although we'll say thanks to Akono, but I don't think Akono really actually played a role in
It was all the players.
yeah, so it
Always
was, yeah, it
I've
was
always
the resilience of the players, the resilience
players.
of the players. So maybe
Yeah.
something could happen this time around. But like I said, I'm not giving up on Song for now. Maybe after this tournament, but I know True Lion gave up already. But
All right.
you know,
Great. Well, how about you, True Lion? Any thoughts? Parting words?
Well, if we continue celebrating mediocrity, we shall never actually grow and we shall never learn.
yeah,
I have said this and I'll continue saying this. When you have a coach that cannot explain logically why he selected this or that player, then there's a problem. When you have a coach that cannot communicate or that cannot articulate the name of his players, then there's a problem.
Very
When you
true.
have a coach that's been known for the some of the silly things he says, the statements he makes, like just today, that God is on the wheel. I mean, that's basically what he said, that God,
mhm.
God should take control, you know,
Okay,
then we have a problem. Because
Kawe, Kawe, no get that
exactly,
they drive a fly.
exactly. And one of the most annoying things is that it seems as if Eto will just continue, because I made a statement here the other day that Eto doesn't like to lose.
Mhm.
Yes.
You
You could
know,
see it on his face today. You could
yeah,
see it on his face. He was not
but but
comfortable
but,
up there.
but he's now the one who is putting us in such a position.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, so that.
remember before the World Cup, we are going there to take the cup. This is a tournament where if you really believe that Cameroon had a squad to take
We can win.
the cup, because we did it in 2017 not long ago. So if you believe
With a
that we
squad
really
that
had a
nobody
squad, yes,
yeah.
because now it makes me understand that some people are not coming to the national team because of different reasons. Because this
True.
is a game where the experience and creativity of Chupo Muting, because he can play like a second forward
Yeah,
behind the forward
he can
in
play
the
as a
space.
winger.
But look today, we had nothing in the middle. The
Nothing.
pitch is divided into, you have the right, the middle, and
Yeah.
the left wing. So
Left.
there was nothing happening behind those central defenders, and that's where Choupo-Moting operates at its best. Look at the goals we scored against Serbia. It was Moting with
Abubakar.
Abubakar. You see that combination I'm talking about? So the reason why even our wingers, somebody like Kudu, was overloaded. 20 minutes to the end of the game, he was fatigued, he was tired, and all that because everything was going there, and then he become exhausted. So my game, I mean, today I know it's a game. Tomorrow could be a different game, and the ball will bounce differently. But
Great.
I just think that if Cameroon doesn't make it, then it's a better time maybe for just let Rigobert Song go, because I don't see any value added.
Okay. So this is unbelievable that we have such an outlook when Seru Girassi didn't even put on a shirt or he wasn't even on the bench.
Naby
Man,
Keita,
I can only
and guess
imagine
what?
what would
Keita as
have
well.
happened if he was on today. Yeah, because he's injured. I can only imagine what would have happened.
Naby was coaching them all through the game. Naby
Yes.
Keita was like the assistant coach today. If you see, he was on the bench injured
And
all
guess
through the game. He
what?
was like a coach.
And guess
Yeah,
what? The guy who even collected the red card was the guy I talked about, Francois
Yeah,
Cameroon.
Kamani.
Kabano,
Yeah,
Kabano,
He was
Kabano,
Kamano.
the one, because guess what? If that guy did not take that card,
Kabano.
Yeah, we were
Yeah,
gonna lose. Cameroon would have lost
remember
that
what I
game.
said about the game, that
Yeah,
it's gonna be an upset.
Cameroon
And
would have lost
yeah.
that game. That's for sure. Cameroon would have
exactly,
lost
if
that
that
game.
guy did not take that
All
red
right.
card.
Great, great. Such an enthralling conversation, gentlemen. As always, it's so uh, uh, impactful or knowledgeable when we get to talk. You guys come with such a wealth of and depth of analysis that actually makes a lot of sense. Some folks just watch the game and they don't pick up on some of these things, and so these conversations are necessary to put some perspective into what we actually saw happen. And I really appreciate you guys for making the time to always be here. Let's have these conversations, and I'm almost inclined to beg and plead that we can do if we can do this every day after at 6 o'clock after all the games are done for the day. It would really do us some good. But we will have those conversations on the side. Thank you, Tru3lion. Thank you so much, Ajab, and thank you to all our viewers. You guys are just amazing. We'll keep doing this because of you, and if there's anything you want us to point out or talk about, feel free to drop a comment. But remember to like, subscribe to the channel so it can grow. If we have visibility, then somewhere somehow YouTube doesn't put so many restrictions on us. If you notice, we still can't share this live video on Facebook because there's still some steps that we have to go through in order to make that happen. And we'll keep pushing and sending messages to Meta folks to see if we can get that happen before it's too late. So thank you guys so much. Spread the word, tell folks, share the videos. We really appreciate it, and do join us again next time. We really, really appreciate you. Take care. Thank you. And this one is for you guys. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.